Welcome to Leading in Luxury, the podcast where we dissect the strategies that drive unparalleled success in the boutique and luxury hospitality sector. I'm your host, Daniel Renna. In an industry where every detail defines the experience and the scale of operations can make or break a brand, how do you consistently deliver excellence across thousands of events? Today, we're honored to host Brian Ingalls, Vice President of Sales at Brancato's Catering, a powerhouse in large-scale hospitality. Brian, it's a pleasure to have you here. For our listeners, could you please introduce yourself and give us a concise overview of Brancato's Catering and the incredible scope of your operations?
Yeah, absolutely. I'm a almost 30-year hospitality professional. I've been at Brancato's Catering now it'll be 20 years next year. So seeing a lot of growth. We are a 58-year-old company. So we're a family-owned third-generation catering company in the Kansas City market. We're one of the largest catering and events companies in the Midwest here. So size and scope wise, we employ about 125 to 140 people, depending on time of year. We're going to do somewhere between 3,100 and 3,300 events a year. From a revenue perspective, last year was our best year on record. We did about $17.6 million worth of catering. We do have some additional businesses and things like that under our catering brand. We sell tents out of China. We have a couple of restaurants. We own a rental company as well. So we do a lot of different things, have our hands in a lot of different pots from that perspective.
Wow, that's an astonishing volume of events, Brian, and a testament to
Yeah.
Brancato's operational prowess. Here on Leading in
Thank you.
Luxury, our goal is to bring our audience, leaders and innovators in this space, the most cutting-edge insights. So you've been in this business since you were basically 14?
Yep.
Witnessing decades of evolution. What's the single most significant shift you've observed in client expectations or market demands over your career that has fundamentally changed how Brancato operates?
Wow. Great question. I think in part, one of the things that's changed over that time frame, I think trends have a tendency to cycle, right? We see something and then, 15, 20 years later, it comes back into vogue. But one of the changes that I think is paramount to events in general, in comparison to when I started, was really about the personalization of events. I mean, I think people are really looking to personalize little details that just would have gone over and missed, whether it's monogrammed ice cubes or food stations designed around where they met and where they're honeymooning, and all of these little detailed things that carry a lot more weight, even down to the venues and places that people are hosting events. We're seeing a lot more volume of events in places that have more character, that are not just the standard ballroom, that carry some kind of meaning, whatever that may be for the individuals.
Wow, okay. Well, it is fascinating how trends circle back, like you said, but with new demands like this personalization. So when we talked before the show, you mentioned there was a drastic softening in the wedding market, which is a
Absolutely.
significant part of your business. From a strategic perspective, what are the root causes of this decline in wedding volume? And what proactive measures is Brancato's taking to adapt and maintain revenue in this shifting landscape?
I think there's a lot of factors in the softening of the wedding market. I think you start looking at the average age of the individuals getting married. I mean, let me back up. I mean, first off, we're still dealing with the adverse effects of COVID. I mean, we had a 18-month engagement gap where people just weren't even, sitting down for coffee at that point. So dating and things like that seemed completely out of the question. And I think it changed the dynamics of what people think of a wedding. I mean, we are very rarely post-COVID seeing that real large scale, massive wedding. It doesn't mean we're not seeing nice weddings or weddings that are spending a high dollar volume, but we're really not seeing the 400, 500, 100 person wedding anymore. Most of our weddings average about 200 people, which is down from what it was pre-COVID. Pre-COVID, we were more in the 235 to 250 person range. That's one. I mean, COVID changed not just what we were doing in real time, but the future of what weddings look like. I think part of the softening of the wedding market, as I said, is the average age of individuals getting married. You had pre-COVID, the average age of people getting married was 24. It's now almost 29. It's like 28.7 years old for the average person getting married. I think, those individuals have different expectations. They have different things that they want. I think you're seeing those individuals paying for their weddings more often, less parent involvement. So, much easier for a 30-year-old to say, yeah, no, 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 we're having a smaller wedding. You're not inviting, you know, Aunt Becky's third cousin, because she's not someone I'm paying for to come attend this wonderful event. So I think that's keeping events smaller as well too. So overall age and things like that.
Well, that's a critical challenge for many in the event space, I would imagine also. On a more positive note, you're seeing a resurgence in the corporate and convention markets. What specific factors are driving this rebound, and what new opportunities are emerging for luxury caterers in this revitalized corporate event sector?
I think corporate is just taken so long to recover post COVID is part of it. I think budgets returning to decent levels and levels in which they can start to spend on some of the ancillary things like special events. As we talked previously, I think that the return to the workplace and corporate events happening because of the return to the workplace. I think we all lived in this world where for about 2 years, we wondered how many people were going to go back to the workplace, how many people were going to be in offices. We in events and high end events wondered, like, are companies going to gather for their 100th anniversary? I mean, we did countless virtual galas and virtual celebrations during COVID, which was quite the, departure from the norm when you're talking about, mailing food boxes and dropping food boxes at people's houses to eat together on a Zoom call. It's just so out of bounds from what we're used to in hospitality. So I think that's a big part of it. I think going back to the office is sparked additional events, people getting budgets back. I think is an incentive. I think companies realized that whether it be sending employees to conventions, whether it be celebrating a milestone at the office, those incentive structures still carry weight. I think maybe now more than ever, as we did spend so much time at home and getting those perks and benefits of, being sent to Kansas City to come for a convention, being able to, celebrate 120 days of safety at your, factory, whatever that may be, definitely are driving a lot of those kind of things.
Well, that definitely was a crazy time. But it sounds like it's a strategic pivot towards these larger corporate events is key in that regard. So I was going to shift to a topic that's on everybody's mind: AI.
Yeah.
You've seen demos of event planning using AI. From your vantage point, where do you see AI offering the most immediate and impactful improvements for a large scale catering and venue operation like Brancato's, especially in areas like marketing or operational efficiency?
Yeah. So many people use AI right now as a chat bot, right? They're using it in the format of like, speaking to these large LLMs and treating it like you would engage, a car rental chat bot about when you need to pick up your vehicle and stuff like that. So, I think one of the major shifts, for catering and events, we have to multitask. We have a lot going on. I look at some of my sales team and they're executing, anywhere from 200 to 400 events a year, and some of them more than that. And so juggling all of that and managing through all that, I think one of the greatest impacts as a business and as a company will be getting into the AI format where we are using these more as a virtual assistant, where we are allowing AI to build out more of that calendar, more of that follow up, more of that client research. When you're looking at high-end weddings and high-end corporate events, as we talked about earlier, personalization is a big part of that. And one of the best ways to come to the table with ideas about personalization is research, right? I don't have the time to research, 150 if I'm a sales rep here. I have enough things going on and happening that finding all of that and scrubbing the internet for data on clients is just not something that I'm going to be able to do. So those kind of factors with AI, and then the ever-changing landscape using AI in marketing. I mean, marketing in events in general, is the traditional formats of marketing for events, whether you're, you know, a low end barbecue restaurant or a high end caterer, just don't work the same. The print model, online, wedding websites or those kind of things just don't carry the same weight that they used to in finding clients. 24 to 28-year olds or even whatever, 24 to 30-year olds are not, going online or looking at magazines like they used to. They're spending time on social media. They're spending time any number of places that are not the traditional marketing formats. So how do we embrace AI? And listen, Daniel, any advice you got for me, I'm happy to happy to engage it as far as how we can engage AI in our marketings, whether that's Facebook ads or Google ads or allowing the, machine to help direct us and help us find the right clientele.
Oh, well, that's actually, it's a very pragmatic view on how AI is really like. It's an enhancement. It's not going to replace people. Obviously, it's hospitality, so you need the human element. Yeah, I mean, all of those things are things that we can definitely look to see what are some solutions that are available to that. Finally, Brian, looking ahead, if you had to make one bold prediction about the future of large-scale luxury catering and event management, a trend or innovation that most people aren't fully grasping yet, what would it be?
I mean, I think it's like two steps down the road would be my innovation. And what I mean by that is essentially like, I continue to say that with AI, with automations, with the things that we're seeing, whether that be in advancements in robotics and things like that, my bold prediction would be, in 20 years, the highest end restaurant you go to will have nothing to do with the food and everything to do with the fact that a human who knows the steps and etiquette of service will be the one providing you service. I mean, I truly believe that it gets to the point where what we're paying for is no longer the quality of food because food in and of itself is within a marginal range. I mean, is there exceptional food? Yes. Terrible food? Yes. But a lot of food lives in the middle. We talk about all the time as a caterer in our marketplace, there are lots of people with good food, but the quality of our staff, the quality of our service, the quality of our equipment and offerings far exceeds that of people in our marketplace. And I truly believe like we're on it. There's too much in regards to, automation and AI involved in restaurants. And it's like, hey, we're going to go to this one place and it's like the AI food court of America where we're just like, we walk into one building and we can get 10,000 different food options that come down a line and here you go. And you got what you're looking for. And I really think that at some point in this life, definitely before I die, we're going to look around and go, man, I just want someone to know to bring me a specific fork or to, use a crumb scraper to clear off my linen because I got, breadcrumbs on. I mean, those are like little touch things that I think go unnoticed to the average person, but someday will be what the people pay top dollar for. Because the stake's going to be the same, whether it's, 10 years from now or 5 years from now.
That's wild. That's an image of something like out of Star Trek, where like
Yeah.
people just dial whatever they want and they got it, that kind of thing.
Yeah.
Well, yeah,
That's what it's going to be, man. At some point, I mean, honestly, like at some point, we're going to turn around and that piece of it is lost. Hospitality, because listen, the mechanism of efficiency on that, in our world, there are two things we can control. We can control food costs, we can control labor costs. And you're talking about, AI and things like that, like automations and robotics, that takes away like, What we run at a 35% labor cost could be down at like 2% by the time you add automation. I mean, there'll be far too much money in that for people to just walk away and pretend like it doesn't exist. You won't be able to survive against other restaurants with some of that in place.
But at the same time, I mean, when you go out to a restaurant, you're going not necessarily for the food itself, but for the experience. And is this experience going to be something that people are going to want to experience?
Yeah. Well, yeah, I think that's the bold prediction, right? I mean, I think that at some point you're going to look around because there are some people who are going to go out to eat because it is a better option for them in regards to their financial situation, especially when you start talking about the reductions in what it's going to cost to eat out. If you do add things like automation and things like that into the process, you're going to have a contingency of people who no longer view that in the way that you and I would from an experiential standpoint. They're going to view it in the standpoint of like, it's cheaper for me to go to the food court, robotics place than it is for me to buy all the groceries and make all the food myself. It's just easier and cheaper by the time it's all said and done.
Well, we'll see. That'll be interesting.
I don't want a robot making my food, man. I just give me a chef back there, okay? Just give me somebody
Exactly.
whipping it
Exactly.
up at some point.
Well, Brian, your insights into the complexities of large scale hospitality have been incredibly valuable. Thank you so much for sharing your expertise and experiences with us today.
Me too.
And thank you to our listeners for tuning in to Leading in Luxury. For those of us who navigating the intricate world of events and aiming to scale your operations while maintaining an unwavering commitment to excellence, I encourage you to reflect on Brian's strategic insights. Be sure to subscribe to Leading in Luxury for more expert interviews that drive real results. See you next time.